Now, who set you up to come to the United States and talk about your college career?
Yeah, so Johnny and Chappie, the guys at Pro Kick, they so you sort of get in touch with multiple colleges that are interested. I did some FaceTime calls with the coach at A&M, and I was sort of going through it all. And then once they offered that scholarship, I said 100% let's take it. I knew nothing about college ball, so I sort of put my trust into my coaches back at home to put me in the best sort of situation possible. And then I had to finish off my last semester of university back at home, finish that off, and then hit the plane straight to A&M. So that was it.
Now, Texas A&M, of course, rings big bells around here because that was Johnny Manziel's. Yep. I mean, he was long gone by the time you got there, but was, without dwelling on it too long, was the sort of ghost of Manziel still there?
Oh, it always is. He's a freak. I mean, he's the talk of town when he's in there, and even when he's not in there. So he's an icon at A&M. So everyone definitely looks up to him.
Coming here, I mean, you knew he played here before.
I didn't really know too much about it. No, until I got up to the CFL. I knew he played. I knew he went to the CFL. I just didn't know which team and stuff. Right. But then I realized he played here as well. It's kind of crazy.
So Texas A&M, Division I, big school, plays great conference. You had sort of, it looked like an accelerating career path there. Yeah. You know, I think you only were in a game or two the first, or a few punts, and then the next year more punts, and the next year more punts, and every single year longer kicks, more balls inside the 20. I mean, so I think one year you had like a stupid percentage, stupid meaning good, percentage landing inside the 20, which is, and being okay. I mean, it's sometimes tougher on the American field, right? No,
it's just definitely a learning curve. And going up there, I was fortunate enough to be behind Braden Mann, who was, it was his last season in 2019. So I got my first punt ever in that season against UTSA, and that was just good to get that feel of it. But it's just a learning curve, getting used to the game because I knew nothing about it at all as soon as I got up there. So it wasn't just punting the ball that I had to learn. It was the rules, what does fourth down mean, when you go out, everything that's involved with the game of football was completely foreign to me. So it was more just that learning curve, and I always try and put the onus on myself to get better each and every year. Always work on something to get better on because you can, and then sort of just stack them from there.
One of the things we hear an awful lot about Australian kick, and I always call it an Australian kick, and then there's a regular kick, the North American kick. One being more of a spiral that cuts the air and can drop, and the other being the kind of ball that is very difficult to handle. It could be end over end. Or could you explain what the difference is, both in the arc of the and actually technique? For the layman, remembering most of us haven't kicked a football before.
Yeah. Okay, so. No, for sure. I mean, it's definitely situational. So there are certain parts of the field where you use that type of kick, but the biggest difference with obviously one's a spiral, one's an end over end kick. So the style. Or the approach you take to kick those is very different. With the spiral, you sort of want to turn that nose in a little bit so you can make contact on the side, and the end over end, it's a little bit more straight down. So that's sort of the difference with those. But as I said, you use them in different times. I mean, you can, show different directions and hook it the other way, stuff like that. That's sort of where the Australian nature comes into it because we're used to those style of kicks with the AFL background. So it sort of helps us coming up to do those. But they're definitely different weapons that we can use that's in our arsenal.
Here's one thing, and I've talked to you about this privately before. If there's a bad snap, I don't want to put any negative thoughts in anybody's head because you got one of the best long snappers in the league. It's not going to happen. And then you're forced out of the pocket. Can you kick that thing on the fly maybe for a signal? Because that's what happens in Australian football. You're often kicking on the run.
I feel like if anything, if that situation were to come, just the natural instincts of Aussie football would come out and sort of try and make the most out of it, I guess. So I don't really worry about it too much. As you said, Whitey's a freak of a snapper, so... But if that situation ever came up, we'll just play with it and go with it. But I've got no doubt that we'll be able to work something out with it.
Take us back to your university. Are you still studying? Or
no, I finished.
So what do you have? What degree did you get?
So I got my degree in agricultural leadership with 2 minors in health and coaching, and then I did my master's in clinical exercise physiology.
This team leads the world in master's degrees.
There's a lot of them,
there's a lot of them around. So what does that lead to eventually?
It depends sort of what I was studying osteopathy back in Australia. So I guess with the exercise physiology masters, it could be anything in that sort of field. So physio, osteo, chiropractor, PT, anything that I want to do in that field, which is sort of what I envision life after football would be something in the strength and conditioning aspect as well as like the PT side of things.
You run into the men and women that do this professionally every single day here, the types of things you're talking about. You ever talk to them?
Always. Even my trainers back at A&M and all that, I'm in constant communication with them and sort of understanding sort of what it takes to get into that aspect of things. It's definitely different in the college level and professional level with athletic trainers and all that type of stuff, but it's definitely something that I'd be interested in, that's for sure.
let's talk about your pro career. You don't get drafted. Your last year was 2019?
No, last season. 23.
23, I'm sorry.
Yep.
2019 was your first year.
Yeah,
So in 2023, you don't get drafted, but you do go to the NFL. Maybe run just down a little bit how you ended up here.
Yeah, so I got picked up as an undrafted free agent to the Broncos. That was a short-lived career there, and then sort of I was in that waiting period to sort of see like, hey, do we wait it out for as long as we can to see if another team will reach out? I know at that time every team had like a competition battle going on, and then it was sort of that waiting that out, or let's make that move with Hamilton now, have a great season here, and see what can happen after that. So sort of went to that decision to come up here and do the best I can for this team.
That was. Actually, training camp had
I came
already started. It was May 13th.
Yeah, I came like three or 4 days before that second practice match.
Before the second exhibition game and match.
Or whatever. The game.
The and now you're playing a different game again.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got a lot of the similarities. What do you notice about the Canadian game? There was a lot of they talked to you a lot during training camp.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's definitely
teams coaches.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, the demands are a lot different with the halo rule and all that type of stuff. There's no fair catches here, so it sort of depends on what you're looking for. That massive hang time ball may not be the best punt in the CFL at all times. For some teams it may be, depending on the returner and all that. So it's a different art to it in the CFL, because you can't just bang it away and then just say, okay, they'll probably be fair call, because you're not allowed to do that here. So it's definitely something to get used to.
It's a big part of the game, the return game here. Compared, as you mentioned, there's no fair catch here, and it's a big part of the game, and you have to be dangerous. You did have one run against it, and that was actually a very big game for you, except for that particular play. And I'm talking against the Argonauts, and the ball was kicked far, but maybe a little bit too low, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was. That was probably
explain what you need to do there. What probably should have happened.
Yeah, there are a lot of things happened in that one play. I think that was like a 4-4 hang time, something like 50 or 55 yards. I mean, the best part of I guess the only correction I could make on that is try and get it more outside those numbers,
right?
To do my part in that. But he's a great returner. I'll give it to him. Like people were down there, so we could have attacked him, but he was just weaving around everyone. So it's against dangerous returners like that, you want to emphasize definitely hanging and getting it outside those numbers as much as you can.
What do you think? I mean, you have tremendous distance. Actually, if they just let it, meaning just the way the game is set up, just let you hoof it. And that's happened a couple of times, just hoofing it. You uncork a 60, 65, 70-yarder almost every game, right? How far do you think you could kick it?
I don't know. It's very dependent on elements, wind and all that.
Let's say there's no wind.
If it's a still day, I'm confident enough I can get it 75 yards plus.
75 yards, wow. Would you ever like to have a shot? You never really get a shot at that, do you?
No,
because they don't want you to put it into the middle of the field.
The coaches, our special teams coach now, much rather a high hitter that's very short compared to one that's very long and very low. My aim always in every game that I go into, obviously depending on situation, is to hit it as far and high as I possibly can. So if I can hit that 70 yards with a 5+ hang, that's what we'll go for. We'll have enough time to cover that. So it's always my goal, but I'm obviously within reason. You're not going to just try and swing for the fences. You want to do what's going to help your team best win. So that's what the goal is.
Is there a fraternity? Are there 6 Australian kickers here right now? Is there a fraternity of you guys, even though you're on different teams? And
No. We respect the fact that we play each other and all that, but no, it's definitely something there. They're all coming into the CFL as well. I guess the requirements of CFL punting, obviously, because it's different to college and pro ball or the NFL and stuff, it sort of suits the Australian style a lot more here as well. So there's a lot of them come through.
Most of the guys here have played or been around an Australian guy. Anybody ever kid you about your Australian accent, your Commonwealth accent?
Not as much as they do in America, that's for sure.
Let's talk about that. You've lived in Australia, a Commonwealth country, Canada, a Commonwealth country, but a different Commonwealth country than Australia. It's not an island. It's not separate. Different hemisphere, and America. Can you talk about the 3 things, maybe from a cultural standpoint, or?
I don't know. Now, I will say Texas has a lot more similarities to Australia than most people think. Obviously, you have the typical stereotype that people think, just cowboys and horses and guns and all that, but it's not really the case. But I will say it's just, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, you don't really see too many I say food and weather that I've noticed in Hamilton is literally the same as what it is in Melbourne. You get a lot of nice food places here, a lot better ones in Australia, in my opinion, but the weather here is so bipolar. Like, it could be sunny and raining at the same time. That reminds me of Melbourne to a T.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Melbourne's very bipolar, whereas Texas is just straight humidity. Like, it's hot and humid all the time. You'll get really cold sometimes in the wintertime, but it's like 9 months of the year, you're just looking at heat in Texas. I mean, the people in Texas are very hospitable. That's a very big difference that I've noticed from Texas or from Australia and Canada as well. Like people are obviously nice here and stuff, but Texans are just different level.
Gregarious, almost,
very,
right?
like very respectful in that manner. But I mean, it's all kind of the same in that aspect. It's not too different as what people may think.
Given how far you can kick the ball, what are your strengths? What make you do that? I mean, you're long-legged.
Yep.
You maybe playing soccer, which is one kind of kicking. It's more across the it's kind of a hip thing, hook, right? And then straight through. I think a little more on, maybe not, but maybe tell what are the benefits of having played those two, and what are your other strengths?
I guess soccer has more relation to kicking,
right?
So I wouldn't say that sort of played into play, but AFL for sure with the
kicking meaning place kicking.
Yeah, place kicking. I mean, with that way. But to be honest with you, it's kind of punting is a little bit different because you're trying to ideally keep as straight as you can, for the most part, whereas that's something you sort of have to relearn completely when you go from AFL to punting because it's completely different mechanics in general. But yeah, I guess just my explosiveness and power sort of come into play with that. If you just line that ball up the way it should be and just let your legs swing through it, you'll get the result you want out of it. So yeah,
you were also the holder,
right? Yep,
and hurt your finger. So start first. How did you get Had you held before? Did you hold in college?
Yeah,
I see you held in college. Yeah. So that wasn't new learning to so.
Yeah.
But you also broke your finger 2-3 weeks ago.
Against Ottawa.
Yeah, against Ottawa. Yeah, we're actually taping this before it's shown, but it was probably what happened there? And
honestly, can't even tell you what happened. I know someone came to block me after like the second punt, and then I must have struck him somewhere somehow, and then as soon as I came off, it just instantly started like blood was sort of rushing through and swelling up. So I knew it did something to it. I thought it was a jarred finger at first, but then after the week sort of went by, I sort of realized this isn't the case. So I sort of asked for an X-ray, and then from there on out, found out it was broken. So yeah. And
then at one point you had 2 fingers taped together, had you?
No, just the one. Just been. So this is splintered right now, and I just sort of tape over it to try and keep it as compressed as I can, and protect it as best I can.
Now you cradle drop the ball in a punt, right? Mm-hmm. You can use both hands. You're also left-handed.
Yeah,
right?
so it's lucky that I'm left-footed because I drop it with my left hand. Right. Obviously, the holding makes it a little bit more difficult because of the way it's coming in, but we manage. So
are you left-handed for writing and everything too, or not?
I write right-handed, throw right-handed. But I kick left-footed, yeah.
Is that common?
No, it's not really common. No, it's unique in that sense. But yeah, it's like either the same side of the body type of deal.
Has anybody ever mentioned to you how that came about?
Yeah, I don't know. So,
you don't know what.
I can't answer that question for you.
What part of your brain is maybe you should ask maybe one of the other guys in masters on your team that's studying for medicine.
That's right.
So. Do you have hobbies? What do you do with your?
Jeez, not really.
I guess just getting used to a new country, new team,
for sure.
League, everything as a rookie.
I just like relaxing, chilling with with my girl and stuff. But literally, if I used to go fishing a lot. I like ping pong. Love playing ping pong. Whenever we've got spare time, massive. We always played here. We've got some downtime, so that's definitely a hobby, and love playing that. So,
and just actually, I should circle back here to your finger. Can it affect the holding at all? That's what I wondered about if the ball is safe behind you. Lucky again, you've got a hell of a snapper. Yeah,
no, I mean, I don't really think about it too much, to be honest, because at the end of the day, when you're out there, it's whatever happens. So my goal is to get that ball down for Mark to kick it through, so that's what I focus on. So I'm not going to let this get in the way of that.
Tight group when what they call the operation, right? I'll just explain the operation is the snapper, the holder, the punter, and the kicker, and in your case, you're two of the above 3. Plus, the returner is part of that too, right? Because you practice with him before the game. You're the first 4 people out before every game or every practice, right?
That's right.
And you're out there. So, anything else you'd like to bring up about Hamilton itself? What do you find in Hamilton?
Hamilton's very nice. I mean, it's one thing I realize is so many waterfalls, like beautiful waterfalls here, which is amazing. Like there's one like 3 minutes from where I'm staying right now. And you go there, you wouldn't even expect it. Just in the middle of you think you're just walking through a park, and then you go there. It's a nice, beautiful waterfall. You go hiking and all that type of stuff. So that's something I never got to do in Texas is go hiking and stuff. But here you got resources everywhere for that. So that's something I really enjoy in Hamilton. So it's beautiful.
Okay, we're going to be paying a lot of attention to you this year. So thanks so much.
No, thank you. Yeah.